Hello, this is Nikki, creator of The Ruffled Purse, which you can find at theruffledpurse.com, and there it is my goal to support and empower and inspire others to discover and sometimes rediscover the joy of sewing. What I'm going to be demonstrating for you today is how I am sewing together my fabric yo-yos to create the garland that is going to be used on my Raggedy Ann Christmas tree. I'm just using a regular 100% polyester thread. It's going to be a little bit stronger than the 100% cotton over time. I'm using a neutral color so that it is not visible or as visible between the yo-yos as I sew. And then I'm using size 10 Milner's needles. They are a little bit longer and a little bit thicker than some of the other needles that I have. So I've already got my thread or my needle threaded. I've already tied the knot on the end of my thread. And when I start, I begin by inserting the needle up into the middle of the yo-yo until it comes up through the top fold. And that's why I like the long needles, so I can get it up there. I make sure my needle doesn't come through on the back side, and then I pull until my thread is anchored. Then I basically just have my yo-yos separated by color and size. I'm not really alternating. I'm just kind of picking and choosing. I've got a little bit more smaller ones than big ones left over. So I'm trying to do a few smaller ones between each yo-yo. So in order to sew them together, I put the puckers facing each other. I line up the top edge, and then basically I'm just going to be using the ladder stitch just back and forth on top of each other. So I insert my needle into the top of the second yo-yo underneath the fold, and then I pull it. And then I'm basically just going to go back to about where it was before. Again, doing a ladder stitch kind of back and forth. On each one, I do a couple. This isn't going to be, a lot of pressure is not going to be put onto the threads. It's not going to be handled roughly, so just a couple to hold it together. So pull it a little bit tightly so they're right next to each other. And then I'm going to insert the needle into the center of my yo-yo that I just attached. Now this one you have to be a little bit careful because I want the needle to come up through it, the center, and then out the middle. But I don't want to see the thread here. Then I push it back up through the top of this one. Making sure that it's not catching, and then pull it through. So then you can see where it has been connected. So then I would just choose a different yo-yo, put it on top, and do it again. So I'm going to keep going until I have about 8 inches left, and then I will show you how I tie it off. When I said have 8 inches left, I meant 8 inches of thread left, not 8 inches left to go on my garland. So I have about 8 inches of thread left here. I've attached the blue yo-yo to the red yo-yo, and I'm getting ready to pull this through. And I noticed right there that I can see my needle. So I'm just going to kind of pull that back out and then see if I can get it to go through the center of the yo-yo without my needle showing through. So it's not in there and it's not on the back. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this through. I'm going to pull it a little bit tighter, but instead of going back up again, I'm basically going to tie off my thread on the gathers of the yo-yo right here. So I'm just going to push it through 2 or 3 of the puckers that are there. I'm going to pull it tight once, making sure that this is not scrunched up. Then I'm going to just move it back through 2 or 3 more of those gathers. And this time with the loop, I'm going to put my needle through the middle of it and pull it tight. And then I'm just going to go through that loop that I just made, do it one more time, pull it tight, and then I'm just going to push it between those gathers. So on the back side, my thread is coming out, and then I would just use my scissors to clip it close to the edge, and then if it's still seeing thread, I can just kind of pull it on the inside. So now that is attached. You can see how my yo-yos are coming together to make the garland. I've got a lot of it already done, just a little bit left, and before long it will be ready for my Raggedy Ann Christmas tree. Now, if you have any questions about how to make yo-yos, about how to tie the knots, anything like that, check below the video and you'll see some links. And then again, this is Nikki from The Ruffled Purse, here to support your joy of sewing.